Yeah, well, Prof here, and we would have started a little bit earlier, but we had a mishap with a can of Coca-Cola. I was trying to bring Paisley in here with us so she could sit while we were doing this video, and she jumped out of my hands while I was carrying her and knocked the can of Coke out of my other hand. So I had to clean that up. But in the previous video, you may have seen this setup where I got a whole bunch of Irwin torsion forged bits. Check it out, they're my favorite bit. However, they only come in Phillips and square. Also, I don't know what Irwin is doing now case-wise. They used to sell a lineup for cases well before Milwaukee would. But that is not. Oh, here I've got the. There's the transparent LTT screwdriver. Yeah, you can see that moving. This little pawl. Not only do we have that, we have the new one. That we did a recent video on, so check that one out if you guys need one. Those should be up for order soon. I think you can get notified. So I'm gonna make some drawers in my bit organization I showed you guys with the Irwin. They're gonna get end up gonna get 2 drawers. One drawer for the Phillips, because there's 1, 2, 3, and there's the power bit, right, as well as the insert bit. So I need 6 drawers for Phillips, 6 drawers for square. It's 2 drawer, 12 spots total. And it's 2 drawers worth. And I showed you, so I'm gonna have to prep that. But in the meantime, something I bought more for future stuff. What is that? And these. This as well came in, not as directly related, but I also haven't decided what I'm going to do with those yet. So here's my last Milwaukee that I ordered, because I ordered one of each of the 3 sizes. I may swap these bits into here because it's not meant to be double-sided. I don't really have anything else to put on the other side of this. This fits perfectly, as you can see. But maybe we'll devise something after I see what else is in my kit that this is going to go into. Let's see here. First things first, finally got my missing 7/32 bit. And you're probably saying, what do you mean missing? Well, we go 3/16 right now, and then 1/4 inch. So right in between those two is 7/32. Now, for some reason, 7/32 is only available in the concrete bit, which is the red, just like the 7/16. Whereas the other sizes are in the multi-material. Yeah. So let's take our letter opener here and take this guy. You can tell it's I've had like different Milwaukee generations. These are definitely newer. You can tell. The older Milwaukee generations, you would be hard pressed to tell the difference. Like here, that is a Bosch and that is Milwaukee. You'd be hard pressed to tell the difference. And they were literally the same spot, same type of packaging, probably same OEM. I've yet to, I got the yellow on this guy to make it more visible that it's mine, and you're like, well, why don't you put the yellow on the Dewalt? Well, it's already yellow, so you gotta use a contrasting color. So my Ronald McDonald colors come in, as many of you have said for my phone that I had, my on-site phone. Yeah, it was purposely a red series iPhone. Oh, I don't have any control over that, but I put a yellow case on it, the yellow bumper style case on it, so that it would be very obvious which phone was mine, because everybody at that company had the same one. And a lot of people have iPhones, even iPhones across generations. I'm sorry to tell you, but to your average person, they look the same. The same reason why on my work laptop I actually put a 3M vinyl skin on the back, not a G brand. It was too cheap for that. Also, I had way too many. I just had like whatever laptop that we ordered wrong and couldn't sell and didn't realize soon enough. It was all garbage. My laptop either kept getting worse or kept getting older. So the older I got, the better laptop I got, but then the older it was. And then if I wanted a newer one, I was lucky to get a dual core, which is why our customers didn't want it. So for years upon years, yes, there's a bit missing here. I'm adding some magnets to the backside. But for years and years and years, I have had these Dewalt ones that you've seen before. This is my sort of power bit set, and then here is my insert bit set. And I purposely bought 3 of these exact sets here, I believe, in order to make this, and then in order to have enough of these to do that, right? That's kind of why I don't have anything on the other side of this, is I'm actually out of the newer style. The older ones, which are right here, you have to slide them in this way, and then you pull them out. You kind of have to flex this plastic out of the way. Like it flexes. Here, I'll take this bit. So in order to put it in, you put it in like this, kind of fiddly, and you can just take it out, but it flexes it every time. You cannot do it. Some people do and jam it in that way. You have to go like that. Kind of annoying. That's why I went away from these ones. Say they're newer ones. They're newer ones, just as an example. You like take it like this, you put it like that, and you go like that. I think this holds better than Milwaukee's. And you're like, well, why do you use Milwaukee? Well, look at the height of this case versus the height of that case. These do not fit 6-inch bits. The Milwaukee's, however, do. So that's why I'm not like, oh, you must have Dewalt case. If my Dewalt case fits the bits I need, I prefer them. Here, I've had them as far back as this. I also have prior to the clear, right? Where it's just yellow. I have black. I have the one before that that's actually like weirdly rounded here for no reason. The newer ones actually snap together and stack. These are the old way of doing the bits, the insert bits. Whereas the new ones, as you can see here, are angled quite nicely. And I have, took me quite a few of those inserts. If you notice, these only take up one notch, right? And then another notch for the bits themselves. So you can fit a lot more in there. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could fit a 6th if I didn't want to store some stuff there, or if I had more bits. This maximum could do 1, 2, 3, 4. And I already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? 5, maximum of 4. So that's why I switched away from, and you can see yellow. They used to be black cases with yellow inserts. Then they went to yellow cases with black inserts. And I basically just use this guy because they have used this same sort of French cleat design. I don't know if that's the right one. And no, by the way, you cannot put them as close as they are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're like, oh, you fit 5 there. You can fit them in, but you can't actually get at the bits. I just did this so I could fit the remaining ones in there. So this is still viable if I want it to be. It's just the older style, whereas the newer ones will, if you want them to. Actually, they lock together on this side with this sort of lip. And then when you lock this one, and you can lock this one to that one, they don't come apart. Great for travel. In my toolbox, though, I keep them separated because they're flatter. So why all these then? Well, these two, why did I buy them? I need more inserts. That's legitimately why. Like I said, this thing fit these perfectly right here. I don't have the modern, newer inserts to put in here. The reason why is this was bimetal common drill bits. I threw out those inserts because they weren't hex inserts. They were for the Dewalt drill bits, which I have a standard drill bit case. I just got those for real cheap. You can get the Dewalt bimetal bits, as long as you don't mind like an incomplete set, like just common sizes, for like 20 bucks or less. These sets right here with this case, 10 bucks on Black Friday holiday sale. I want to say this case was sub $10. This half size one, empty by the way, right? This case, sans bits in it, $10 roughly. And then there's the double wide one that I have my extensions in. That one was 15 to 20, somewhere in there. And what's interesting about that is that this case, now Dewalt does make one bigger than this, but I'm interested in this one. This case, just from, like I said, it was somewhere between $15 and $20. This bit set here, $20 on Black Friday. Now these are the MAXFIT. See, it says Tough Case. Includes Tough Case Plus. Tough Case Plus. Tough Case Plus. I have the Tough Case, and I think this is just the predecessor. It just says Impact Ready, Impact Driver Accessories. They used to make the black cases have the impact stuff. Yellow cases have the non-impact. But now all of them, I believe, precision fit, anti-snap design. I don't know if these are impact rated or not. Yellow and black. Dewalt Tough Case. Yeah, I don't think these are. It's very weird on Dewalt's newer stuff because they have one that look exactly like this that are not the black oxide, right? They have like another lump on them. I think I showed them in the previous video. Those are the impact rated ones. Yeah, max fit, precise fit. Oh, no, it says impact rated. I'm just fucking blind as shit. They do have like a step up from these supposedly in quality that has like an extra lump in all the bits. Part of the other reason why I got these is I have a bunch of these. The little magnet guy does get worn out, which is a bit of a bummer. Like quicker than the bits do, because it's actually, the magnet's actually exposed right there. We can kind of go in that. That means it does take a bit of a beating when you're actually using it. So Do I need the bits? No. You guys saw all the bits I have. But when I want the case, and the case with the bits in it, there you go. You show them snapping together. Is $10. Like this is $10. Fuck it, might as well. And now you can see why I had to get so many of these to get these inserts. This, which is the $10 set, right? I think I might have actually stepped up to like a $12 or $15 one, because if you notice, this only has two. 1, 2, right? Whereas I needed 10, so I would have had to buy 5 of these. If I recall correctly, there were ones of these that had 4 in. So I could buy much less to just get the inserts, right? I think over time I've even given away some of these cases themselves, or I've used them for I have one of my step bits in that's like an opaque one that doesn't have the clear top on, just because like I need the inserts for my other cases, but I mean, like, I only need so many cases. There's only so much there. And this one actually got reclaimed because, like I said, it originally came with drill bit inserts, and I changed it over to hex bit. Now it does have drill bits in it again, and I may actually swap to this Milwaukee instead. Now the Milwaukee's kind of interesting here. So if you notice, some of these are the correct width. Some of these, like right here, are too short. And that has something to do with this bottom case that I'm interested in. So let's crack open. Oh god, this thing's so heavy. They make an even bigger one than that. Maybe at some point I'll buy that. I want to say it was $30, maybe. But it actually has like these smaller cases inside it. So, but it has like a handle for like and it's got like drill bits and a bunch of other. I did read some about it, and some have said it's not actually that useful, because basically they're trying to do the thing where it's like, oh, this one thing, and I guess if you're like a home gamer that doesn't need any specific kind of bits, or like wouldn't even know the difference between a cobalt and a black oxide and a titanium bit, right? Maybe that's fine, and it kind of as an all-in-one, and you can just grab it and just hope a bit is in there. This thing is actually organized quite similarly to how this one is. Now there's normally an extra piece up here that is drying, so I'm gluing it, that holds these bits. Instead of holding them this way, there's like a little tray for them. I've never seen that tray ever again. Just like this Dewalt, if that breaks, that extension, I'd be very grumpy. But to make that tray better, I'm actually putting magnets on the back side so it can hold the bits in. Otherwise, basically what holds the bits in is this right over here. This closes on top of them and pushes them down. Same thing would happen here. What holds this stuff in is, well, it's stuff on that side, pushing on that side. Pretty straightforward. Yep, and this is a much nicer design. You just pull it up, pull it out. I can show you what the older single insert bit design would have been here. Similar to the ones where I had to slide them in. It's a similar thing with here. You kind of have to put them in like that. Then you take them out, you can just lift them up. But they're much more fiddly to get in to do that with it, versus the newer ones where you kind of just put them in vertical like that, and I actually leave them up when I'm using them, so I can just pick them out and be like, yep, I need another T25, or I need you know, like this guy. I'll leave it up like that so I can just grab it, and then once I'm done, push it down, push it down. So that's a nice improvement. The nice thing is, though, like I said, I kept this piece, as well as in some of my other bit cases. I kept some of the other ones, the older ways of doing it that I liked better. The ones for the power bits and the insert bits are better, but any of the other sort of like random stuff that I had from that came with like various other random cases that weren't like kind of this cheapo default de facto $10 one, and originally they didn't cost that much. Buying this kit, I remember when I bought these, because these were like one of the few impact rated at the time. I think these are just straight black, like they just look like black oxide coated S2 steel. They're all hex, top to bottom, none of this torque zone. By the way, this is why I don't like the way that they've done this, is you have to like grab it here to pull it out, whereas on something like my arrangement where they're facing, you just go like that, go like that. Same thing over here. Yes, there's some magnets on, but I don't use this stuff that often. I shouldn't say that. I use those extensions quite often. Those adapters, less so now that I have dedicated impact wrenches. I used to have to use a impact driver kind of basically as an impact wrench until I had one. I'm sure all of you have done something like that before, but yeah, this is a real basic bit set. You could very easily, if you wanted to, take another one of these and put it right there. You know, exactly how they basically just add another one of those. They only haven't done that to cheap out. Why am I lifting those out right now? Well, to get this backing off. We don't need that. And I will put this guy back in. Do it. There we go. Let's open up the second one. I really do like these Dewalt cases. Like I said, the one limitation I've had with them has been the not holding the 6-inch bit, which for the most part hasn't been a huge limitation, but I didn't have a good way to store those masonry bits you saw. Also stuff like the extensions I use with bits, they didn't have any place to go. They were just kind of rolling around in my toolbox, or maybe on some sort of magnetic strip. And the reason I got to lift these up to get this thing out is because as you push them down, one actually fell out here, but there's little nubs there. So when you push them down, they actually widen it out and actually hold it in place. It's like whereas Milwaukee uses this hard plastic that to actually get out, you actually have to flex. In my experience, you got to flex the actual chassis here to kind of like pop it out. And then what actually flexes in here is just this little tab, and it's a much harder plastic, and I don't think it holds it anywhere near. Like, do you see these are like kind of all floppy? I don't think that holds it anywhere near as well. And yes, I know those are longer than the Milwaukee. Maybe we'll be able to figure this out since I have that other Dewalt MAXFIT now. Almost did that before pulling this out. So, so probably how I would actually set this up is not in this, in my opinion, kind of stupid way, because it's impossible to get shit out easily. They probably just want to cram more in here. I would take this, flip this around here, pop that in there, like that. We're going to do the same thing. Oh, yeah, they could have done this. Here, I'll show you. So this is from that one. This could very easily go here, right? And remember how there's this gap here, right? So if you're just gonna buy this set and use it, my recommendation, take this row from up here, put them right here, Now you can easily get these out, easily get these out, and easily get these out, and easily get those out. That probably worse for branding, right? But I mean, or if you wanted, you could take one of these, put it up there, take these two, put them over there. I think it makes more sense to have the power bits on one side and then the other stuff on the other side. And personally, I wouldn't leave this attached to any singular item like they have here. That was a Phillips 2. Right there, whereas it should be a Phillips 3, because this is a Phillips 3. What I would do is take this and then take this and put it magnet side like that. That way you can easily grab it, grab whatever bits you want, or grab the extension. Be aware, not an impact rated extension, just a magnet. It's a nice short guy though. I make a big deal out of this extension I have, which is a 2-inch. That was the only 2-inch that I ever found. This was a Craftsman. Came with the Craftsman hex bits, I believe. That is also a 2-inch extension, or maybe just over from Dewalt. Now, really don't care about this because this is much thinner. Anymore, I don't care too much because Hilti, it turns out, makes a... It's got the little collar for the impact bits in there, an impact rated 2-inch extension. And I have 2 extras, I think. They're not cheap because it's a Hilti. Like, I want to say they're like $10 to $20 in that. But to have a impact rated 2-inch extension, and then I can swap insert bits. That's why it's with the insert bits all day, every day. That's why it lives in there. Or you can take this too if you want to add it on your little ratchet here. And one tool I really always thought I should use more. So here you go. Universal L key. So basically, combine this with these Allen bits. That was the thought actually from at least from Craftsman. There you go. Now you have an Allen key. Except you don't have to have a whole set. You just have the one L key. And you put in hex bits. This is just a handy common driver that I keep over on the workbench here. And I kind of bought that Craftsman set back in the day, mostly for the bits, because I had not seen, it was not common back then to have 1/4-inch hex Allen key bits. So my recommendation would take this, leave it loose. See how it's vibing right there. And you got a whack ton of, this is a 3. These are all 2s. Probably what I would do is 1, 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. That way you see that it's actually different. And Phillips 2 is going to be the most common. You get 2 square 2s, and what are all these? These are probably Torx. We got a T20. That's good. Often those are only T25s. T25. It's gotta be a T25. Yep. Because we got one T20 in there. So that's how I would set it up. Now, is this gonna stay set up this way? No. Because I'm going to steal the guts out of it. And what I mean by that is steal these inserts for other. And here, you can tell whoever designed these purposely sloped this portion under here so you could butt them up this close. Like, somebody did test how closely I've put them like that. Now I've spaced them out here a little bit more because we're not really going for density in here. I mean, I can easily get, like, because more than likely you're using this extension and this stuff. or you're using these and this. So you could move that up one more though, if you really, like I did here. But for $10, even if you were like, I hate Dewalt bits, the Milwaukee case is $10. Let's put it that way. And from back in the day, that's pretty normal, because I was originally looking into Irwin, I believe, was one of the few places that sold their cases separately, and they actually had like a system. Should be noted that if you're going to do what you did here, you either have to leave all the bits up and put them all in, or you have to start here and work that way. Or if you're doing, I like having them facing me this way, because then I can see the tip, right? But if you're doing it this way, you have to place them here, 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 like this row, this row, this row, because you can't push them down if there's going to be one underneath, right? If you're butting them up that close, at least. Yeah, like realistically, my recommendation would be probably buy at least 2 of these. Only carry 1 of it, right? Outfit it the way that you want it. Like, you know, get some more density, push these up. You could get 3 rows of the single bits in here, right? And if you really wanted to, like, say if part of the reason why mine is split here is because I have extension, a longer extension here. Technically speaking, you could probably fit one of these. I didn't pop those up, that's why. Yeah, don't try and pull it without popping those up. Pain in the ass. You could fit, yeah, look right there. You need even more single bits. Or, since you got 2 of these, right, how I might set it up is power bits, single bits. That would be another way if you don't have a longer extension you want to throw in, or a longer bit from something. Right, for me that worked perfectly, especially because there's only 4 of those Torx that I use. But that is the really nice thing. Prior to Dewalt's kit like this, I don't know, we're probably talking 20 years ago at this point. Well, I think I had these before I had the Irwins. I mean, you have to look up, like, let's look up, when did Dewalt first introduce their tough case for 1/4-inch hex bits? They're saying that some of this, they're saying around 2010. Maybe. I think this is older than that. Maybe I'm wrong though. Remember, I had a little bit of weird nostalgia that made sense once I realized how long. Part of the reason why I like these Irwins I need to actually swap out. Turns out, at least according to Gemini, it was like a good 5 years before the impact rated version came out, which would explain why I got so used to the standard forged. And what I would do personally is, unless you have certain bits you're going to burn through, like maybe carry 2 Phillips 2s and 2 T15s, or realistically if you have a T15 over here, or T25, sorry, over here, and you have a T25 in that size, you don't need all these duplicates. They're giving you duplicates to fill this shit out. So you can actually pare down what's in here and then include, like, say if you just did the like what's in here, that's probably 1 row between, you know, like they got flat, square, Torx, and if you put 3 rows in here, right, and then maybe 1 over here, you could probably get the bulk of what's in here. Like, you could get Torx, hex, maybe only metric hex, and ignore the pause drive, you know, ignore some of the other more specialized stuff. Like here, this is a drywall bit. It's got that extra thin tip on it. That's for using with either specific drywall guns or, if I recall, it can have less torque because it's skinnier. So it automatically will cam out or something like that. If you guys know more on that, please explain. But yeah, Dewalt still sells. This is a rather old, I have a ton of these. They're PR2. And I have this double-ended one. That thing looks torqued. Yeah, I actually use this one quite a bit. I think I only have one other of these left. So you can, you know, like I said, if you buy 2 of these and you lay the rows out better, that more fits you. You know, like either have a second one of these, so it's, you know, like long, and then 2 strips of singles, or you can do 3 or 4 deep of singles plus the sort of extensions down here. You also don't need 4 Phillips 2s in here, so you can probably migrate some of this over there. You know, like there's a lot you can do. That's like what's so cool about it being modular. I don't like storing that on there because yes, you might more than likely use a Phillips 2, but say you are using a Phillips 1. Well then, if it's already off something, you can just pop it right on. And what that does is it just holds the bit real, or this, you put the screw on, that'll attract the screw and it'll hold it to the bit really nicely. Even better than just having a magnet on there, even though it's better than those spring magnets, at least for driving with an impact driver. To me, it looks like they've slimmed up that magnet a little bit. Yeah, look at that. That looks skinnier than this guy. And you can see I've taken a couple chips out of it. So that's part of the reason why I got these sets too, was they printed the Dewalt on differently. These are smooth too, and these are way more textured. Interesting. Yeah, so I would do some combination of getting 2 of these kits and fleshing it out, either with Dewalt bits if you want. I prefer the Milwaukees if you're going to go out and buy bits. Maybe you already have some bits yourself. The other thing is maybe you want to dedicate one of these to 1/4-inch hex drill bits like this guy was, right? You can do that by kind of playing mix and match. And that's how Milwaukee wants to do with their cases, and you can buy the Milwaukee cases online through Home Depot. What I've found in the past years, and what I'm doing here, is that you literally just buy their cheap bit sets for the cases. The case itself is worth the $10, unless you guys know of a cheaper way to get them. But you get bits with them too. It's not like those bits are useless. I don't think they're the most amazing. But if you have a whack ton of them, it doesn't really matter, does it? Just use them up. So the more interesting thing of this for me, especially based on the fact that Milwaukee kind of fucked theirs up. Let me go and grab it. So I have Milwaukee's double wide. It is a double wide of this, or so I thought. It is, however, not a double wide of this. If you notice, it is only a 1.75 wider. Yeah, it's a third wider, basically. So what this means is, we go in here, these holders, and we go to the ones that came out of here and came out of here, because in here that basically goes to the top, right? There is no point in having like a row way up there. Yes, I can move it down one, but this is drill bits. I'm not going to put a single row of single bits up there for any reason. Now if you really wanted to push it, you can see in here you could. Wait, no, you can't. So see, that's where the top row is, and that's a 6-inch bit. So basically how I'm using these, you see this whole thing rocks. That's the other thing I don't like. This whole thing rocks, and these are floppy in there. But it does fit even, and it will even hold. Like, though it holds them loosely, it holds even these big extensions here. So the kind of cool thing about these extensions is, let's grab, here's a power bit. Oop, that goes in there. You don't have to manually lock it, right? Locks back, and you push forward to eject, and it auto ejects. I'd argue that this chuck is better than what's on a lot of Milwaukee's impacts. But then also, if you grab an insert bit, here's a square 2 Irwin impact. Same thing happens. It's not coming out of there. It pops it out. So really, really think they did a bang-up job with those. This is the new one. That's sort of like what you saw earlier, that you can add on to a power bit with some brands like Irwin and Dewalt, except this, you once again take an insert bit, you just drop it in there, and you put the collar up, and you have it on an extension. The 6-inch one of these is really nice. I effectively had that Dewalt is the same thing, except I would argue better, but they aren't made anymore. And then they have a short version of both of those I have, and then they have a really friggin' long, I have a foot long and an 18-inch long one of these that I really only get out when needed, but they have gotten me out of some jams. So, and this is the longer, so here. I only bought the long version of Milwaukee because I have the Dewalt. If you look at that, that's way longer. Not only do you have a longer bit here, but this is a 2-inch supposedly, and this is a 3-inch, right? However, realistically, that does a 1-inch, maybe 1.5-inch screw, and that does a 2.5-inch screw. There you go. So 0, 1, 2, basically. So even they call this a 3-inch. So like this would technically go in there, I guess. Or if I got the Milwaukee version of that, which I might have somewhere around here, but I didn't go out of my way and buy it. I wouldn't do that because I prefer this Dewalt. You notice I have a Dewalt. Until they came out with this extension and now this one, which I haven't been put to much use, the actual extensions, I think, were better. Heck, here. You guys have seen me show off. I had, prior to the Milwaukee, I was using the Dewalt ones. Now, they weren't impact rated. That was another thing. Whereas the Milwaukee ones are very impact rated. How was that staying there for so long and now it just, whatever. So here's my issue with this, though. I kind of got off track. So the ones for this, the single width ones, that are here, right here. So this isn't a double width. And I'm guessing it's to have some compatibility with the pack outs, because these fit like where pack out cups do if you want to put them in a pack out. There's something with that. So what that means is that your inserts from these can't be swapped into this or this. They're different size inserts, which is kind of fucking stupid if you ask me. But they're doing it so that it better fits into their pack out. I never, like, this is in a case already. Why do I want to put the case in a case? But Milwaukee's looking for intercompatibility between their stuff. I actually really like how this turned out. I got a Phillips 123. Then I have a T15, or sorry, T25 here. Just trying to make it a little bit easier to get that Phillips 2 out of there, out of the middle of that. These are actually Klein, because I can get 2 6-inch Klein bits for the price of 1 Milwaukee Phillips 2. Also, Milwaukee does not make 6-inch Phillips 1 and 3. So Klein sells it as a pack of 1 and 3, and then a 2-pack of 2s, which I think is perfect. They're just now getting into getting into like bits like this. So we'll see how those go. I like how skinny it was. They tried to make it like skinnier, like a real screwdriver. That's not for torque, like on the Milwaukee there. They also continued the hex shape. So if you look a little bit more on there's a longer hex shank there, which is more compatible with more drivers. Then here they're trying to keep like the minimal amount for whatever reason. Probably saving money of some kind. Now I've got Phillips 2, T25, T15, square 2, and slotted. Yes, that's an impact rated slotted, not just a power bit, but a 3-inch power bit. Yeah. Yeah, put that in your impact driver once. See how that goes. It's a slot 8. That'll go great. Dewalt does make impact rated slot. They're the only ones. No, how well that would go, but so here's what I'm interested in. Here's an OG. I think that'll fit. I think that'll fit. Oh, it's one of their horrible ew. Their countersicking bits. God awful. They're generally not straight even. Like the drill bits aren't like, they're always like all kitty wampus. I think they filled this out as about as inefficiently to make it look with more bits than it could be. If you're running this yourself, you could take these, scooch them all up, and condense that down to there. Right? And then have plenty of room for 3-inch, 2-inch. It's 3.5 and 2-inch. But what this looks like to have is intercompatibility with all the previous inserts, which is a bigger part for me. This guy I really didn't need to buy because I have this now. I'm interested in how those fit. Maybe I don't use that Milwaukee one I literally just set up. Because I'm a crazy man. Crazy. I will say this. It's harder to cut through compared to those smaller ones. Bottom part was pretty easy actually. I'm guessing this side is going to be just as hard. Yeah, don't put your fingy there like you're peeling a fruit. You'll peel your finger. Not as bad as some of the Harbor Freight packaging, but dang nearly. Oh, for those wondering, this is the TK Stash, what I refer to as the Tuck XXL. Really like those. You get quite a bit more leverage than the, my everyday carry. Well, this one is not my everyday carry, but this is my main used one. Normally I would have used that. And just having that extra leverage on some of these really tough things, real nice, real nice. I do recommend if you do go with the TK Stash, spend just a little bit extra and buy yourself, well, you gotta buy a clip. You're gonna be like, why does it cost $15 for a clip? They're not cheap. But also buy yourself a loop. Do both, because then you can put a little lanyard in there as well. Thought I'd cut all that, but I guess not. That is big and unwieldy. That is all I'm going to say there. also warped a little bit, more than a little bit. The molds for these are, this is what happens when you do bigger ABS molds. See, it's like a warped space bar on a Happy Hacking Keyboard Pro 2. You can see the warpage right there. See that line? So that's fucking annoying. These have been out for a couple years, I think, these bigger ones. The prices on them haven't, oh God, that's, okay, so if you guys thought this was big, yeah, no, it's a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger. It's a lot heavier too. Now granted, this doesn't have that many, because they're all 6-inch extensions. So theoretically here, these are 6-inch bits. What do we got? Phillips 2. Yep, Phillips 2. Yep, T25. Yes. So to get that many long ones, these can often be a couple dollars a pop. Seriously, like, and more than a couple bucks. Like, I don't know about the Dewalt ones, but like the Milwaukee ones, like I said, that's why I was using the Klein. These still don't look impact rated. I know they say impact rated, but I'm gonna say the impact rating on the Dewalts is they don't have to be black. If you notice, even the modern Milwaukees have like this silver tip on them, right? But the ass end is still that black phosphate coating. I've just never, even when DeWalt had specific impact rated where they were black. Like I said, they used to do black case for impact rated and yellow case for normal. My mom actually has some of the normal ones for her snap-on screwdriver. So let's see here. Extension. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. Yeah, I don't think I can take this and put it right by it. I can. I just bought this Milwaukee. And you can have a row. Remember, you can't have a row of bits up here. On there. I think you could on this one. Okay, this is the single width, but taller one. If I move these down, I think you could have a row of bits up there. But because they had to redo it to fit, I feel like these are also thicker. Yeah, a little bit thicker. When folded. God, that's another thing though with this fitment on these bigger ones, which is something I've never had on the small ones. I would not want to faff with that every time. Especially because if you had a latch here, that'd be different. But in order to maintain compatibility with their other cases, right? This is here. So you can snap that there and snap. Now that is nice because I can just grab this one thing. I have my extensions, my power bits, and my insert bits all in one. So that is really fucking tempting. Let me know what you guys think I should do. Should I swap everything out of the Milwaukee here that I just put together and go to the Dewalt? Oh, fuck. That might be a wasted like $15, $20 with this. But I don't like that. I really don't. But I also don't like this ill fitment of this nonsense because of those striations you're seeing is them producing them in such big mass for Black Friday. The mold is not flowing properly because that's where it's being blown in. And then what's happening is because it's not being flowed properly in the mold on this side, right? This is a harder polycarbonate probably or something like that. it's causing it to not, when it cools, it shrinks, and it's flexing away. That would annoy the living. Oh, look, that just fell out. Interesting. That is the one thing, is the inserts in the Milwaukee are so hard to get out that you couldn't get them out even if you hoped to. I can see how bent this shit is. Oh, they did use a metal insert pin in the middle, whereas the older ones use plastic. I think all the Milwaukees use a metal black insert pin. You can kind of see it here. I'm debating what I do. Because those fit pretty nice. And I showed you that I could, when I'm taking it places, easily snap all three of them together so I could have everything in one place. But at the same, yeah, look at how, like the thing is despite how wobbly these are, it does hold them. Alright, but this thing just says, I had a full set of these. I mean, I still do. I think I've shown them to you guys before. From Snappy Tools, that's the brand you want to get them from. They're on Amazon. I tried both the Irwin and the Dewalt there because they're owned by the same OEM now. They have this same. They're not really like that's not really like a blade. It's just like a pointy piece of metal that cuts it out, rather than the older ones actually had blades on them. And this bit is a through wood style. It cuts very quickly because of the point, but it's actually for making a hole through a board and countersicking, meaning on the board, imagine a board here and a board here, right? You're drilling through this board and screwing into this board. They don't really mention that. So if you actually use this for the screw size it's meant for, it will make two hole, like you'll just strip the hole out because the screw's meant to pass through with that stuff, generally speaking. So I do like that it comes with the 3/8 inch adapter and the 1/4 inch adapter. I like how now that I need this to come out, it doesn't want to, of course, when it just fell out earlier. Fine, we'll leave that in. Come on, you get back the fuck in there. That was all T25s, by the way, that we just took out. And that was all but one of those is a Phillips 2, I think. So a lot of this, what I personally would like to see, now a lot of people, you remember, you are going to, so of your common ones, so maybe if your square is common, put 2 of those in there, but, you know, I would definitely have 2 T25s probably, and 2 Phillips 2. Maybe if you know you're going to use a lot of another size, have 2 in your kit, but otherwise, you really don't need all this duplication. They're doing it because they want to fill it out, and you know, like one person's going to buy this kit and then use this kit for years upon years upon years upon years upon years, right? So they probably want, you know, you're going to want, not you, but like, you'd rather have multiples but like carrying this around, in my opinion, got to be the most pointless thing ever to carry this thing around and have multiples of like just would like to point out here. I had a whole row of Phillips 2 that I told out. This is Phillips 1, Phillips 1, Phillips 1, Phillips 1, Phillips 2, Phillips 1, Phillips 3. Now here we have some, look at that. You have Torx, you have Allen, then you should have had Phillips square. Done. Phillips 3 looks so funny. He's a little funny, chunky guy. Ka-chow. One, two, three, one, two, one, two, three. Realistically, down the line, I should probably get like a T15 or a T20 in this long one, depending on what's needed. And Phillips 2. I'll put it over here for now. Oh, these fit so much better. And I can do so much more with this, in my opinion. Yes, it fits less bits width-wise, but this takes the standard inserts. Now let's close that, close that, close that. I'm probably going with this. Let me know what you guys would do. But I guess I should have picked up this set before I picked up. I wanted to try these Milwaukee's, and I actually didn't need them for this guy. This was, I mean, Milwaukee actually ships these. If you get a full set from them in this case, so I knew it would be the perfect fit. But then I was like, I'll get the short. This guy, whoopsies. I'll get this guy as well as the big one, just to try them out. And I fit these extensions in the big one really nicely. I really think they fit better in here. And not that I need them, but I can easily keep, if I want to, a set of insert bits up top. And on these shorter extensions, I could do kind of like exactly what they did, where you had a set of these. If I didn't want the insert bits, I could have 2 layers of extensions in there, or like 2 layers of power bits, you know, like the 3.5-inch power bits. Yeah, and the fact that I can snap my other 2 right in and carry it as one big super fucking heavy thing. If I'm going someplace. Yeah. I don't know. Let me know what you guys would do down below. Would you pop them back in this Milwaukee, what I originally bought for doing this task? Right? I think I had a dedicated video when my mom I gave her a set of these that came with the subcompacts from Milwaukee, and I was like, they're a vast improvement over what Milwaukee used to have, which is what I still have one of those in my kit for my on-site work kit, because that's what they came with, right? We effectively got 2 sets of bits, and I split them up so each, like, so 2 different people had a full set of, like, I basically did what I showed you before, and it actually came with a 2-pack. And one had like all these extras like this, but one was Torx and one was Hex, I think it was. And then I basically just halved everything, so everything had at least one of a bit, and like that sort of stuff. So yeah, but here it's not even latched. That's the latch on there. So, questions, comments, throw them down below. As much as I might prefer other brands' bits, I think that Dewalt's cases are worth buying, even if you weren't to use the bits. But hey, you got free bits. Like I said, some of these can be serious money. Like this guy right here, this T25, a couple bucks for that thing, right? And we got one right there. I even have one of these older ones. I think I've showed it to you before, where I bought a dedicated one. Totally didn't realize I had. It's still in package, and it's singular sole package. Sometimes having this long hex, you know, it's how the Milwaukee and the Klein try to get rid of that. That can be useful if you want to put a wrench on it or something like that, or you're using it for other means. Yeah, so hopefully you guys found this interesting. Yeah, appreciate your feedback. Look at this, they're like barely drooping. These are some heavy freaking extensions. So hopefully we'll see you guys in future videos. If you like the content, you know, best to always throw a comment down there. I just say if you like the comment, throw a comment. Time for sleep. Have a good one as always. Peace.